I saw this quote earlier today on Facebook, and I can't really seem to stop thinking about it. It's just a little thing, but it seems to have compelled some thought into my mind. I've spent the best part of my adult life thinking that I was a rock, and believing that the bigger and the stronger the rock that I was, the more safe and secure I would be. And there's some logic in that, and I assume that if a person were a rock and were stationary in the same place, for the entirety of his existence, and I believe you'd have to possess an enormous amount of patience, as you'd pretty much kind of just have to sit there and wait on life to come to you, and that's okay. But I think personally, I choose to be a river. I would choose to be adaptive and have the ability to overcome any of the obstacles that I'm going to face on my journey. I mean, once a river gets set into motion, there's really no reversing it. Um, the the origins of the river itself are going to compel it into motion. There's always going to be a replenishment or more water to fill the river as it makes its journey, and that's going to continue to compel it uh, where it's intended to go, which is, essentially back to its origins. The Earth is 70% water. It's covered, I think, is 70% water, and during a river's journey, there's certainly a lot of turmoil. It seems, from my understanding of a river, they start rather small at the headwaters, and they can be rather turbulent. When there's a lot of gravitational force, or a lot of steep incline downward. But along the way, a river is going to experience varying degrees of turbulence and energy. There's going to be periods of calmness, and it'll flow gently along the terrain, and there's going to be areas of resistance, and in those areas there's going to be a lot of turbulence and turmoil, and it's going to have to work. One thing is for sure, that there is no obstacle that could lie before a river that's going to deter it from arriving at its final destination. It'll find a way to go around, or under, or through, or over anything that's in its path. And it always strives to follow the path of least resistance. And I don't necessarily see how our lives are all that dissimilar from that of a river, in that regardless of what obstacles or turmoil we face in our journey from birth until death, we all hope that it will be very calm and enjoyable, and there will be a level of peace. But unfortunately, there are always going to be obstacles, and it seems to me that instead of trying to be the immovable object of a rock, it would be a lot more peaceful and rewarding to take on more of the form of liquid, or take on the form of a river, and have the ability to navigate your way around all of these obstacles. It's not always going to be easy, and again, there will be some turbulence along the way, but ultimately you're still going to arrive back to your final destination. You're still going to arrive back to your origins, and just like a river, once it reaches the ocean, it's allowed to lie in somewhat of a state of rest, certainly compared to its journey from high in the hills of its headwaters, with a lot of movement and activity and stress and resistance. If you compare that to arriving as a body of water back into your origins of the ocean, the environment of an ocean, while violent and turbulent in its own right, are really rather mild compared to, say a class 4 rapids somewhere up in the Appalachian Mountains. And so that's been my experience. There have been periods of peace and serenity and calmness, and there have been periods of violence and aggression and turbulence. And just this simple little quote, it certainly makes me feel good about the fact that once I arrive back to my origins or my creations, then I'll be allowed to lie in a state of peace and relative tranquility, and that's pretty inspiring. It's hard for a man not to feel a sense of hope when he looks at life from that perspective. Anyways, I just wanted to share that with you. Stand up and fight for your freedom. Be a river.